Have you ever been scrolling online, maybe, late at night, and you just get this feeling that something is well off,
Hmm.
that something isn't quite right? Maybe you've seen the term dead internet theory floating around, or you just notice things feel different, a bit less human, perhaps.
Yeah, that resonates.
Well, if that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly what this theory is, where it comes from, and maybe most importantly, why it seems to strike such a chord with so many people.
Right.
Even us sometimes. For this deep dive, we've pulled together a really fascinating stack of sources. We're looking at everything from like hardcore cybersecurity reports and forum
The
discussions.
deep corners of the web?
Exactly. All the way to psychological analyses of, online behavior and journalistic investigations into digital manipulation.
Quite a range.
Our mission here is really to unpack this idea that the internet you experience might not be as human as you think, and help separate the real documented trends from the more speculative, almost conspiratorial claims.
And it's truly fascinating, isn't it? How a widespread feeling, that sense of offness you mentioned, can sort of coalesce into a full-blown theory.
Right.
Especially when there are, genuinely significant observable changes happening online. We'll definitely delve into how algorithms play a huge role in shaping your reality.
Your personal reality.
Precisely. And explore why it can be surprisingly difficult to break out of certain online perceptions, even when you're shown, what seems like clear counter evidence.
Okay, let's unpack this then. At its core, the dead internet theory is, well, it's framed as an online conspiracy theory.
Hmm.
But maybe don't let that label make you dismiss it entirely just yet. What it claims is that most of the internet's content today, we're talking posts, articles, videos, even comments.
Like the stuff you see every day.
Yeah, is no longer created by real people. Instead, the theory suggests it's the product of bots, AI, or even like coordinated corporate and government actors.
Hmm.
Essentially, genuine human activity is seen as this small, declining minority. It's a pretty stark vision, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And this theory isn't just about bots, though that's a big part. It proposes a few key interconnected ideas. First, yes, the dominance of bot-generated content.
Right.
Proponents really believe social media, especially, is just riddled with fake accounts interacting with each other, all designed to simulate, a lively platform.
Make it look busy.
Exactly. Second, it suggests that public discourse itself is largely artificial. The idea is that these automated or orchestrated elements are used to subtly steer public opinion or maintain certain cultural trends.
And who do they say is behind it?
Well, government agencies, corporations, or sometimes more vaguely, shadow groups, are often cited as the orchestrators.
Okay, and here's where the timeline gets really interesting, right? Many proponents point to this supposed turning point around the mid-2010s.
That period comes up a lot.
That's apparently when social media algorithms started getting much more aggressive in curating feeds. Bot tech got significantly better.
More sophisticated bots.
Yeah, and AI text and image generation, even the early stuff, started blurring that line between what's real and what's fake engagement. It wasn't like flipping a switch, more like a gradual creep.
Exactly, a technological creep. And it's crucial to clarify that dead here doesn't mean the internet literally shut down, obviously.
Well, of course not.
It's entirely metaphorical. It implies that the human-driven, authentic internet, the one maybe some of us remember from its earlier days,
The forums, the blogs.
yeah, that essentially died, replaced by what proponents describe as an automated, heavily curated, and maybe even manipulative version.
Yeah.
Older users often contrast this with the Wild West web of the pre-2010s,
Simpler times, maybe.
perhaps, where forums, personal blogs, organic communities just felt more common, more accessible.
So when did this idea really get a name and take hold? Our sources point to the dead internet theory as a named concept, really coalescing around 2021.
Relatively recently, then.
Yeah, specifically, there was this thread on Agora Road's Macintosh Cafe forum that apparently went viral, kind of put a name to the feeling. But the underlying observations, the anxieties, they go back further, at least to the mid-2010s. People were already talking about the growing share of bot traffic,
Right, those numbers were already climbing.
which was estimated to exceed 50% by the late 2010s. And they were noticing how search results and social feeds started feeling repetitive or kind of samey.
That feeling of deja vu online.
Totally. And we can't forget the disappearance of so many small independent sites all pushed out in favor of a few massive corporate platforms.
Yeah, the consolidation. Now, while bots and spam undeniably make up a huge chunk of web traffic, Studies do consistently suggest over 50%.
Which is staggering in itself.
It really is. But skeptics argue that claiming most internet content is entirely fake or centrally controlled is probably an exaggeration. Many claims within the theory are based more on, anecdotal patterns, on feelings.
Rather than hard data.
Right, rather than hard, verifiable evidence across the board. It's a really complex mix. You definitely have real phenomena like the rise of bots, SEO spam, corporate PR campaigns.
Things we can actually point to.
Yes, but then that gets combined with a strong sense of nostalgia bias for the early internet, and then layered on top is that conspiratorial speculation about, hidden entities pulling all the strings.
Okay, so even if that hidden hand conspiracy part isn't proven, our sources definitely highlight several measurable, documented trends that give the dead internet theory some real plausibility.
Exactly.
So you're not imagining things if you feel like something's fundamentally changed online.
That's the critical distinction, I think. It's not about whether the feeling is valid, it often is, but what the actual cause of that feeling truly is. So what are these documented trends?
Let's break them down.
Okay, first, bot traffic is huge. Cybersecurity firms like Imperva, they're a major player in web security. They've reported for years that bots account for 40–50%, sometimes more, of all web traffic.
Wow. Half.
Yeah. And these bots are doing everything from SEO spamming and ad fraud to scraping content and mass posting on social media. The Imperva 2022 report, for instance, found 47.4% of all internet traffic was bots.
Almost half.
And malicious bot traffic was at an all-time high then. Just think about that. Nearly half of all activity online. Not human.
That's wild. Okay, what else?
Second, decline of the small web. Remember the days of blog rolls, personal forums, quirky independent websites?
Yeah, definitely.
Sure.
GeoCities, AngelFire.
Right. Many of those have been dying off since the early 2010s. The platformization of the internet, Facebook, Twitter X, TikTok, Reddit, has concentrated traffic into just a few massive hubs.
And that leads to algorithmic curation, not organic discovery.
Precisely. Third, search result homogenization. Google's search results, let's be honest, have become increasingly SEO optimized and ad heavy.
You search for something and get 10 versions of the same article.
Exactly. It often pushes up repetitive, low quality, or affiliate-driven content. You might find multiple seemingly unrelated sites reposting the exact same, maybe AI rewritten text. That can definitely create an illusion of consensus where there isn't one.
Makes sense. What's next?
Fourth, AI-generated content explosion. This is more recent, but massive. Post-2022, generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, they've just massively increased the ease of creating plausible text, images, even entire websites with basically no humans involved.
So content farms on autopilot.
Yeah, we're seeing entire spam content farms running without any human writers or editors. It's scalable in a way human creation just isn't.
Okay, number 5.
Engagement farming and astroturfing. This one's a bit more subtle, maybe more insidious. Some companies, political groups, they strategically use sock puppet accounts, fake online identities.
To pretend they're real people.
Right, to simulate grassroots discussion or product buzz. Coordinated campaigns have been well documented, influencing social media trends, product reviews, even entire Reddit threads, making something look popular when it's artificially boosted.
Sneaky. And the last one.
Finally, social media zombie feeds. This is a feeling I think many people can relate to. Your feed feels like you're just talking into the void.
Yeah, low engagement, weird comments.
Exactly. Likes, comments, shares might come from accounts that look real but are inactive or just feel bot-like. Even Elon Musk admitted to persistent bot issues on Twitter X back in 2022. It's a known problem.
So, okay, while there's no single piece of smoking gun proof that most of the internet is fake,
Right, no definitive number.
these specific data points and documented trends that feed into the theory, they're very real. Pew Research surveys, for example, consistently show users perceiving online discourse as less authentic, more manipulated than before.
People feel it.
And investigative journalism has definitely exposed large networks of fake news sites, sophisticated astroturf campaigns, and just outright click farms designed to fake engagement.
Absolutely. So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the conspiratorial framing the idea of a small secret cabal controlling everything.
That's speculative.
That is indeed speculative, but the underlying observable trends, bots, automation, algorithmic curation, the decline of the small web, those are not just anecdotal. They're very well documented across multiple reputable sources.
Now, here's where it gets really compelling, I think. Our sources emphasize that the very way algorithms work makes it surprisingly easy for people to overgeneralize from their own feed.
Their own little corner of the internet.
Yeah. and conclude the internet is dead, even if what they're seeing is just one heavily filtered, personalized slice of it. It's like looking out your window and assuming your backyard is the entire world.
Exactly. So what's happening under the hood there? How exactly do these algorithms influence what you see?
Let's get into the tech.
Okay, first, personalization loops. Every platform you use, social media, YouTube, TikTok, even Google search, it tailors your results based on your past behavior. Clicks, likes, watch time.
What you interact with.
Precisely. If you interact with AI art, guess what? You'll get more AI art. If you click on those SEO spam articles we mentioned,
You get more spam.
you get more spam. It's a feedback loop, and you're providing the input constantly.
Okay, that makes sense. What else?
Second, engagement optimization. Algorithms are fundamentally built to prioritize one thing above all else, keeping you scrolling, keeping your eyeballs on the screen.
Not necessarily quality or truth.
Not necessarily. They'll boost whatever content is most likely to grab and hold your attention, even if it's not high quality, accurate, or representative of the broader web. Controversial stuff, visually appealing stuff, bite-sized content that often wins the engagement battle.
And the third mechanism.
Content saturation. When a cheap, scalable content type like AI-generated posts becomes popular or just easy to produce.
There's just more of it floating around.
Exactly. The algorithm's availability bias means you'll just see it far more often, and there's simply more of it in the pool for the algorithm to pick from and recommend to you.
Okay, so if someone then concludes, wow, the whole internet is dead because my feed is mostly AI content, they might actually be falling into a fascinating combination of, well, cognitive biases, right?
Absolutely. Our
Okay.
own minds play a huge role.
We're talking about things like the availability heuristic, where you overestimate something's prevalence just because examples are easy to remember.
Like seeing lots of AI art makes you think all art is AI now.
Right. Or the filter bubble effect, where you literally confuse your own little algorithmic micro world for the internet as a whole.
Believing your feed is the public square.
Then there's confirmation bias, where you're more likely to notice and remember the AI spam if you already believe the internet is dead, while unconsciously ignoring all the human posts.
You see what you expect to see.
And finally, the hasty generalization fallacy, which is just drawing a huge, sweeping conclusion from your own narrow bias sample. So the real takeaway here isn't just that algorithms are tricky, it seems, but that our own brains are kind of primed to confirm what we suspect, especially when we're stuck in these echo chambers.
It's a perfect storm, really. Technology and human psychology feeding off each other. Less a grand conspiracy, perhaps, and more this emergent property of the system.
Right.
And what's truly fascinating here is why this feels so incredibly convincing to people. AI content and SEO spam often look very similar, right? Very generic.
Yeah, kind of soulless sometimes.
So even diverse creators might seem like one homogeneous bot swarm that's homogenization. Also, remember that early internet we talked about?
Wild West.
Yeah. It offered this potential for loss of serendipity, random forum hopping, discovering personal blogs through links. You are exposed to incredible variety.
You stumbled upon things.
Exactly. Algorithms now optimize heavily for relevance, which, ironically, narrows your world significantly.
Yeah.
And finally, you have to consider the low-trust climate we live in.
People are already skeptical.
Very skeptical.
Yeah.
Many already distrust online discourse because of things like political astroturfing, fake news. So seeing bot-looking content simply confirms their existing suspicions. It fits neatly into an existing framework of distrust.
Our sources really walk us through this step by step because it's one of those deeply human things, isn't it? Where psychology, technology, even identity all blend together into this sticky, incredibly hard to break cycle.
It really is.
Think of it like a self-reinforcing spiral. The algorithm tracks what you engage with. Then your feed gets more of that kind of content, which leads to those cognitive biases kicking in.
Right.
Which strengthens your belief that the internet is dead or fake, which then creates an even narrower, more biased feed. It's just this potent loop.
And this perception loop isn't unique to the dead internet theory at all. You see it playing out in so many areas online.
Like what?
Well, think about political radicalization. Clicking on videos critical of one political party inevitably leads the algorithm to show you more and often more extreme critiques. Eventually, you might genuinely believe that everyone thinks that way because that's all you see.
Your bubble becomes your reality.
Exactly. Or take health misinformation. Searching for natural cures can quickly fill your feed with alternative medicine videos, making mainstream medicine seem corrupt or ineffective by comparison. It's a fundamental aspect of how these systems work and how we as humans interact with them.
So, if it's such a powerful loop, why is it so hard to deprogram? Why do people stick with these beliefs? Our sources point to several key
Very
factors.
complex.
First, there's emotional investment. Admitting you might be wrong, especially about something you feel strongly about, can feel like losing a part of your identity or like admitting you were fooled.
It's uncomfortable.
Very. Community reinforcement is also huge. These theories often come with online communities that provide a powerful sense of belonging and validation.
You find your tribe.
Right, and that makes it even harder to step outside and question things. Then there's cognitive dissonance. Our brains just find it easier to reinterpret evidence to fit an existing belief than to change the belief itself. It minimizes mental discomfort.
The path of least resistance mentally.
And finally, it taps into our brain's natural pattern-seeking nature. We evolved to quickly detect patterns for survival, right? Even if, in this modern context, the patterns we think we see are false ones.
We're wired to connect dots, even if they shouldn't be connected. And what's particularly insightful here, I think, is that it's not always about the actual harm the theory causes, but rather that it provides this neat, compelling narrative for why things feel off.
It gives you an answer.
Exactly. It grants a sense of agency, maybe makes you feel like someone who sees the truth when others are still blind. This shapes identity, and the theory effectively becomes self-sealing.
How so?
Well, any attempt to debunk it can be cleverly reframed as part of the very cover-up the theory describes. Of course they would say that.
Right, proof of the conspiracy.
Precisely. So this dead internet narrative is really a lens, a powerful lens, for a much deeper set of social, cognitive, and cultural dynamics at play.
That's a powerful point. It leads to what our sources call a target-seeking instinct. Humans, generally, we don't like randomness or feeling out of control.
We want explanations. We want agency.
Yeah. When something feels wrong, like the internet feeling hollow or disingenuous, we instinctively look for a clear villain instead of grappling with a complex, multi-factor shift.
It's easier to point a finger.
Totally. Blaming AI or bots or these vague shadow actors is emotionally easier than wrestling with the big, messy issues like corporate monopolization, the pervasive influence of ad-driven algorithms, the over-commercialization of everything.
And even our own role in it.
And even our own personal media consumption habits.
Exactly.
It's a convenient way of outsourcing accountability, making the problem feel external rather than demanding maybe some uncomfortable self-reflection.
And then there's something we might call a consumption mindset and mental malnutrition. The more we consume rapid, bite-sized, easily digestible content,
TikToks, shorts, headlines.
yeah, the less we actually train ourselves for slow, critical thinking. This makes these neat, emotionally compelling conspiracy narratives more appealing. They feel like a shortcut to feeling informed without doing the hard work of deep, nuanced research.
It feels like knowledge, but isn't really.
Kind of. If all your news and culture come in 15-second clips, you build mental models that are emotionally vivid, but often intellectually flimsy. Over time, an uncritical statement like, "The internet is all bots now," can become a socially accepted fact within a certain circle. Even if nobody has actual proof, it just gets repeated.
That brings us to what our sources provocatively call the comfort cage. We live in this era of effortless entertainment, endless content, which, ironically, can create a kind of mental obesity.
The striking metaphor.
Isn't it? In this comfort cage, you rarely have to seek information because algorithms just feed it to you. You rarely have to test your beliefs because your bubble already agrees with you. You rarely have to create anything new because passive consumption just feels easier.
Less effort required.
Right. And the cost isn't just personal stagnation. It's that our shared reality becomes more fragmented, shallower, and ultimately far more manipulable. It's a sobering thought, really.
It is. And that's why people who believe strongly in the dead internet theory often aren't starting from a place of, rigorous data analysis. They're starting from that visceral feeling that something is off.
The gut feeling.
The gut feeling. And that feeling is then validated by these emotionally compelling narratives we've discussed. This creates a kind of psychological defense shield that makes them incredibly resistant to counterarguments.
Okay, so this shield. Our sources break it down into several fascinating layers. First, there's self-sealing logic.
We touched on that.
Yeah, where any contradictory evidence is immediately reframed as proof of the theory's truth. For example, if you say, look, plenty of the internet is still human, a believer might respond.
Of course, you'd say that AI content is designed to look human, so you wouldn't know the difference.
Exactly. It makes the theory impossible to falsify. If evidence against it is actually evidence for it, where do you go?
You can't win that argument. Then there's distrust of authority. Mainstream data sources, cybersecurity reports, academic research studies, they get discredited as being part of the very system that supposedly killed the internet.
So you can't use outside evidence.
Right. It makes independent verification impossible within that framework. Emotional evidence is also key. The feeling of something being wrong, that deep gut instinct, is treated as primary evidence. And feelings are, understandably, much harder to challenge than cold facts.
Next up is social reinforcement. We mentioned the communities. Online groups often form tightly around this belief, normalizing it.
Making it feel like common sense within that group.
Yeah, and making contradictory voices incredibly rare, or even seen as hostile or naive. And finally, personal identity attachment. For many, belief in the theory becomes a core part of their self-image. I'm someone who sees through the matrix, the fake internet.
I'm awake.
Right. So challenging the theory can feel less like a debate about facts and more like a direct personal attack on who they are.
And the shield is incredibly difficult to break through. It's driven by cognitive dissonance, avoidance, emotional risk, strong community pressure. The most effective way past this kind of shield, our sources suggest, is often indirect.
Not a head-on attack.
Probably not. First, validate the feeling the person has. Acknowledge that their perception of something being off is real and understandable given the changes we've discussed.
Connect with the feeling first.
Yes. Then, try to gently help them separate that feeling from its most extreme cause, the idea that everything is fake and controlled. Encourage exploration rather than direct confrontation, and offer alternative, more complex explanations.
For the feeling.
Right. Explanations like the impact of platform monopolies, the pervasive influence of algorithmic echo chambers, or the overwhelming commercial incentives that drive so much online content. Shift the focus from a hidden cabal to observable structures. I think, ultimately, the biggest takeaway about the dead internet theory isn't really about whether most of the internet is bots, in some literal, quantifiable sense.
It's bigger than that.
It's much more about how people process profound change, a sense of loss, perhaps, for a digital past, and the very real erosion of trust in an increasingly complex and often overwhelming online environment.
Absolutely. It's like a mirror, isn't it? Not just a claim. The theory powerfully reflects real issues we've discussed. Bot proliferation, algorithmic narrowing, corporate consolidation, the explosion of AI spam.
The documented trends.
Exactly. But it also reflects a deeper, maybe more personal disillusionment with the internet's cultural shift, that move away from organic exploration and genuine community towards, well, passive consumption and relentless commodification.
Right.
In that sense, it feels less like a pure diagnosis of reality and more like a symptom of a profound digital alienation that many people are feeling.
Well said. The core feeling that the internet feels emptier, shallower, more manipulated, that is undeniably real for many people. Where believers sometimes diverge from, let's say, documented reality, is in jumping to these totalizing conclusions.
Like it's all bots.
Right. Instead of considering the broader structural, cultural, and even personal factors at play, it's a understandable simplification, perhaps, of a very messy truth.
And the blame target is just so convenient, isn't it? AI, bots, shadow actors, they make for a clean, identifiable enemy.
Easier to grasp.
Much easier than the deeper forces at play, our own evolving consumption habits, the intentional design choices of major platforms, the massive economic incentives of big tech. Those are often less satisfying to blame because they're complex, systemic, and, frankly,
They implicate us.
they implicate us as users in their perpetuation. It's uncomfortable.
It is. And the real danger here isn't just believing the theory itself, maybe, but what that belief potentially crowds out. If you conclude everything online is fake and controlled,
You might just check out.
you might withdraw from real human-run communities that still exist.
Yeah.
You might inadvertently spread overgeneralizations that lower trust in legitimate content creation. And you ultimately miss the opportunity to engage with and fight the actual root causes.
The things we can potentially influence.
Exactly. Like algorithmic homogenization, the widespread lack of media literacy, and the increasing corporate control of the open web.
So what does this all mean for you listening as you navigate this digital world? It seems like healthy skepticism needs a compass, doesn't it?
That's a good way to put it.
Skepticism without genuine curiosity can just harden into cynicism. And cynicism might make you feel smart for a bit, but it ultimately leaves you feeling powerless because you've essentially written off the possibility of change or nuance or finding the real human corners.
It closes doors instead of opening them.
Right. So the healthiest, most productive response to the dead internet theory probably isn't to declare it's 100% true or just dismiss it as it's utter nonsense.
It's more like, okay, there are definitely true elements to this feeling, and some documented trends support it. Now, let's try to identify exactly where and why things feel off so we can respond meaningfully and thoughtfully.
Maybe think about your own digital habits. How do your interactions shape your feed? What steps can you take, even small ones, to maybe broaden your online experience beyond what the algorithms relentlessly try to feed you?
Seek out different sources, different communities.
Exactly. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep, deep diving into the fascinating, complex, and yes, still very human world around you, both online and off.